Welcome to Monday Mojo. This week's quote, "Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail." Ralph Waldo Emerson, 1803 to 82, American essayist, philosopher, and poet, and also a champion of individualism. In Greek mythology, the mythical phoenix is a bird of great color whose life spans 500 to 1,000 years. Nearing the end, the phoenix builds itself a nest of myrrh, a resinous material that then ignites and burns the bird to a pile of ashes, from which a new phoenix emerges. This is the story of my phoenix. I've always been a driven person from deep in my soul, competitive in the most ferocious sense. I've never accepted the belief that somebody could do something better than I. I knew that if I would simply focus my attention, I could probably get whatever I wanted. Obviously, though, like anyone, I have experienced many failures and setbacks, and none more colossal than a period in my life right after college. I had been groomed in the 80s to be about all things financial. Harvard Business School seemed like the logical next step in my path to a great job on Wall Street. So I went out and found the best job available that would lead to that goal. But after working there for 2 years and being rejected for admission because my experience was too generic, I hopped to the next lily pad in the world of venture capital, where everybody seemed to be skating right into Harvard or Stanford Business School. But then it happened. One morning I woke up and felt this strange sensation in my body. My legs felt strange, almost as if they were protesting. How could this be, I thought? After all, these were the legs of a cross-country runner. Legs that had cross-country skied 100 miles in 2 days across the Canadian wilderness. I shrugged it off as nothing much and forced myself into the shower when the second bomb dropped. I suddenly felt a massive rush of panic run through me as I anticipated the day. The thoughts of simple everyday tasks such as meetings and phone calls seemed to toss me into this crazy anxiety state. I rationalized that this must be the first time stress was finally catching up with me in life. I thought maybe this is what it's really like in the business world. But while at work, the feeling seemed to only get worse, and I began to compensate by keeping a much lower profile and actually avoiding human interaction as much as possible. I also devised a plan to combat this newly found stress, which included an even more rigorous fitness plan. I was already running, lifting weights, swimming. Why not add some rollerblading and boxing to toughen up? However, no matter what I did, nothing seemed to help. And as a matter of fact, it only got a lot worse. I was even having trouble seeing my friends. Going out to dinner at a public diner became a complete chore. I had visions of feeling so panicked that it would actually make me physically sick to my stomach. So, as these crazy workouts increased, and the tolerance for food kind of slipped, I began to emaciate. Not a big guy to begin with, I didn't recognize the tiny frail figure in the mirror. The physical exhaustion had become so bad that I tried going to sleep earlier each night, but no matter how long I rested, I would wake up even more tired. My head began to hang low, with my chin almost resting on my chest. I felt like I was trying to look back into my head and figure out what was wrong. I regressed to the point where I finally started to feel even a little bit crazy. How could this have happened? What happened? Am I having some sort of a nervous breakdown at 23 years old? This became one of the loneliest times in my life because nobody knew what to say or what to do. Even my family was scared, and they tried willing me back to strength. But I knew nobody was coming to help. I had to figure this out and beat it. I first realized that it was time to leave the job and the path I was on. Obviously, there had to be some connection with my work environment, and what good would I be anyway in a state like this? So I attacked the bookstore like a maniac for hours at a time, because this was before the explosion of the internet. As a matter of fact, I think Al Gore was probably still working on the internet back then. So I read books about depression and about anxiety, and ultimately found the term panic attacks. At least I could finally name my nemesis. I read about fish oil and how it affected the proper functioning of serotonin levels in the brain. I visited with a shrink friend of mine as we explored my past. I did it all, and ultimately found some physical relief with the right help for the right medication. But I absolutely refuse to accept that as a long-term solution. So even though this time sounds like the worst, it was in fact my best. So like the phoenix, I was on fire. My nest that I had known was burning. What I had been and what I had thought I wanted to become was disintegrating into a heap of ash, and a new me was emerging. I never really wanted to work for somebody else. I guess I was just an entrepreneur who hated the feeling of a saddle and would kick it off. I wanted to control my days and start with a healthy workout and a solid breakfast. I wanted to have kids and actually see them each day and build strong relationships that would follow me to my grave. In other words, I was screaming for freedom to pursue my real dreams. So the lesson is that you have to listen to the passion inside you. It can't be denied. It's that thing that gives you hope. It makes you toss and turn with the excitement of a little kid. But if you ignore it, it will come for you and bring you to your knees. Passion yearns for more life and is the guide to happiness. There was a time when I felt alone because I didn't know better, and now I do. Because of that experience, I vowed to always be there for anyone suffering like I did. There's no shame in this at all. Shame only leads to isolation to the dangers of alcohol and drug abuse, which even brings some people to the erroneous belief that there is no way out. Well, yes, there is, and there always will be. So remember that when your phoenix is burning, the new you is only inches away, so give it life. P.S. For those in need of help, my research over the years lead me to a balanced and healthy life, where exercise and a healthy natural diet remain the core of my psychosomatic health. However, in addition, you should not be afraid to seek the medical help you need, and I found many natural methods through an excellent natural doctor who turned me on to natural remedies. You might consider doing the same. This is another free thinking tool brought to you by freethinkingtools.com. And by the way, feel free and please do share this video with anybody and everybody who you think might find it helpful. Also, you have my permission to embed this video on your blog or anywhere else that you'd like. We'll see you next time on Monday Mojo. Thanks.